You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. This call is from
Jermaine.
an inmate at a Maryland Correctional Facility. This call will be recorded and monitored. To hear the cost of this call, press 9 now. To accept this call, press 0 now. For customer assistance, thank you for using Global Care Link.
Hello?
Oh, what's going on, Mr. Drew?
Ain't too much. What's going on, man? Hey, I got it all set up for you, so you can go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Go for it.
All right. Great. My name is Jermaine Marsh. And I'm saying hello to anyone and everyone who can hear my voice in my picture. There's no professional way of exposing oneself or sharing what it is that we're going through, but at the same time, by the grace of God, with the help of the big computer, being inspired to reach beyond my own limits, here I am before you. To the upper class, middle class, lower class life, whether you be a politician, religious leader, civil activist, empathetic, or somebody who's morally aware and just concerned about other people's struggles and pain. The hope is that you're hearing this truth, it becomes too much for you to ignore. One time before, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Oh, America, how often have you taken the necessities from the masses to give luxuries to the classes?" And also he said that an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. Again, I am Jermaine Stevens Marshall Sr., 41 years old, a wrongfully convicted man from Baltimore City. I'm a high school graduate, a father of beautiful children. An only child of one surviving parent. A husband, and I was a working man with a real decent job. And right now, I've been incarcerated now for a little over a decade. When it comes to wrongful convictions, no matter what city or state it takes place, it always destroys the lives of innocent people as well as our families. It's true that most of the time, being behind bars, we have power to effectively fight against injustice. But it's equally true that we ought not ever stop protesting against it. I'm not the first to be wrongfully convicted, nor am I the last. And definitely not the only person now who has been. The subject of wrongful conviction almost goes unspoken of until it happens to someone you know of. Or when after somebody has been locked up for a long period of time finally gets exonerated from the grips of these arms of injustice. Then it is talked about. Even then, sure stuff. I pray you all will pardon me for my lengthy dialogue with you. But it's been an extremely strenuous journey, and I have a lot to say. The number one cause of wrongful conviction is misidentification, especially when dealing with rich identification. A lot of times, where identification is the key to the case and it's circumstantial in nature, if and when the public hears anything else, normally you already have a preconceived notion already formed about the person or persons that have been arrested and our guilt, even before it's even ever proved. All due to what? Due to whatever is presented to you from the media who gathers all their information from the very police, the private computers, and court officials responsible for investigating and trying the case. It's no different with the jury. Also, whatever attorney in that courtroom at that particular point in time gives the best argument is normally the one who wins the case. For the most part, what many of you may not really consider is that defense attorneys, especially state-appointed defense attorneys, underpaid defense attorneys, most of them are burnt out, overworked. And the prosecutors, though, on the other hand, they have far more resources, and the public supports them even more for cases that are being tried. A lot of times, the nature of the crime and the details of are so horrendous that the public, as well as the jury again, don't even see the person being tried. Rather, they see the crime and the opportunity to advocate for some form of punishment for the one who's being tried. This is no means by a host being put before you or a choke. is not some type of falsified plea and attempt to take advantage of the weak or the vulnerable. By all means, I strongly urge you and encourage you, if or when possible, research the truth that I'm sharing with you. When I do share the details of this case, I'm sure most of you might think that it sounds like it's emotionally over-exaggerated, but I assure you within my possession, the legal documents to prove every single word being shared with you is all factual. If for whatever reason you are unable to research and find what you need on me and on this case, and desire to view any legal documentation in my possession, write and request copies, and Lord willing, some of you will be forwarded copies ASAP. For the record, yes, I have been and am going through every legal process the system has in place in an attempt to exonerate me from this wrongful conviction. However, this court system ignores clearly the truth of my innocence and says that it's no longer a matter of guilt or innocence, but rather it is all about law and proving that the law has been violated on their behalf. Here's my truth, my life, and my pain. Here's the nothing venture and nothing being gained. December the 30th, 2003, I was sentenced to life plus 10 years imprisonment for a crime that occurred on January the 7th of 2001, a homicide robbery that took place at 789 Washington Boulevard in South Baltimore. In this case, there was a total of 7 eyewitnesses to this crime. When time came around for trial, somehow only 2 out of the 7 eyewitnesses were supposedly able to have been found. The five that couldn't be found, neither the state's attorney or my defense attorney alike were able to find them. All, when they would show my photo array or show photo arrays, informed the detective that the suspect was not in that photo lineup. In other words, they said I was not the suspect. But let me back up a little bit and try to give you a little more details about this injustice. The night of the incident, according to the investigation sheet, there was an e-composite drawn up and sent around to other detectives with a physical description of the suspect. However, this particular e-composite, where they got the description from, or what that person looked like, when it was time for court, they said it never existed, despite what their papers say it was this. That the videotape of the entire crime, it would have exonerated me if it would have ever been turned over, but it hasn't been. Despite being requested by different attorneys at different times, even one time threatening the prosecutor office to turn it over with sanctions, they still never turned it over, neither was any sanctions ever dealt with or handed out. The prosecutors proclaimed that the video was too fuzzy to view and identify any suspect. However, all throughout their investigation sheet, after being viewed by different detectives, community leaders, and several potential witnesses to the crime, all supply the same name as to who they believe the suspect has been, which is and was not my name, and also discredits the prosecutor's claim, which is a violation of my due process of law, all day long. There's nothing I have to hide, or else I wouldn't be before you right now, exposing myself and this situation, at the same time using a little discretion for the privacy as well as protection of certain people in their lives. I'm going to exclude using names of witnesses, judges, detectives, and anyone else for right now. If you contact me and ask for more details, of course, sooner or later I'm going to have to expose these names through further communication. Out of the 2 witnesses that was used at trial, both in court testimony, are suit the suspect and good grounds alone, if not for exoneration, definitely for a new trial. One young man, all throughout the detective's investigation, she was constantly saying that he actually knows the suspect from the neighborhood and only shows my photo because me and the young man looked alike. However, come time for trial, he changed his statement, but remind you, he even gave the suspect's name and said that they spoke to one another while they were in the store. Remind you, also, my attorney never mentioned none of this at trial. Before going on to the next and the main eyewitness, there's 2 more things worth mentioning about the young man I'm talking about. First, during the time of my trial, he was put in a rape trial. This was the second rape trial. He ended up getting probation for the second rape offense, which only makes me wonder, did he get to the court that testimony in exchange for some type of deal? He did end up getting probation after I was found guilty, but I can't prove if he got a deal or not. It's bad. It does sound a little suspect. Second thing is, the courts keep telling me this is not worth thinking about or even mentioning, or it's not a real big issue. But it's their heart and my mind, and this is the very first prosecutor who handled this case ended up becoming a defense attorney and somehow representing none other than this young man with this rape charge in court with his testimony. When interviewed by the detective as to who the suspect was and his reason for choosing the photo lineup, the young man ended up saying that his attorney showed him and told him who I was when I was coming down the courtroom hallway towards the court. All that right there, and just worth looking at, and worth taking serious consideration about this injustice that is definitely taking place. I can tell you more about this young man as well as the most of it took place, but I know my time is very limited. The main eyewitness, though, which happens to be a victim's cousin, actually never gave a prior description of any suspect at all. When time came to trial, he cried so hard that even though he was accusing me of the crime at hand, I still felt this. Come to find out 2 years after having been found guilty of this crime, that there was something else the prosecutor office had withheld from him, which would have been very crucial for the defense, which was this particular statement from this particular eyewitness. This man said, unless the suspect comes in wearing a cap and having on the same clothes, I cannot recognize him because the meat all blacks look alike. Now, I'll remind you of this. I was not wearing a cap eliminating my photo lineup. I was not wearing anything remotely close to what the suspect was reported to have been wearing it when the crime was committed. So how in the world did this man ever choose my photo from a lineup, especially when he never gave a prior description to a suspect or ever chose a photo until the day of my arrest? When this newly discovered evidence was presented at my post-conviction hearing, under actual innocence, the judge replied with a denial saying this was already litigated in 2003 with the proof. Now that I didn't receive this information in 2005, so how can he deny that claim that it already was litigated? I did share with you that the prosecutor introduced this eyewitness as his only suggestive eyewitness, or the fact that he himself said several times before, after being corrected to numerous times also, that the police are the ones who told him that I was the one who committed this crime. You got the video, you got still frames from the video, the fingerprint comparisons where the suspect that touched things compared to mine came back with negative results, and any other physical evidence from the crime. If it was applied to you, will all point to someone other than myself as the suspect for the crime. But all has been withheld, keep being stuck under the rug. All this will prove my innocence. So, my last opportunity in court, having struggled to strive to raise $7,500 for an attorney who did absolutely nothing. This post-convict anyone didn't have any evidence or nothing to go along with my petition, which I wrote up myself. Left me standing there litigating my own case, which the judge was not trying to hear, and he definitely wasn't happy. So much to this case that I would really like to share. Also, like I said, my time is limited. I'm trying to be as brief as possible, but at the same time, I'm not victim with sharing my truth. You got the victim's brother, who was not an eyewitness, but had presented himself to the prosecutor at my arraignment and told the man that I was not the one responsible for the murder of his brother. They told this man that they heard him, he was no longer needed for trial, and after I was found guilty, somehow this man sought out one of my children's brothers. Told her he wanted to help because what they did was not right. I have not been in contact with him for over the years. I would have to find him or hire some legal help to find him to see if he's still moving forward with helping out with him. This is the truth. It can very easily be proven once he is found. Also, after being found guilty, nothing to do with this case, but my trial attorney ended up being disbarred for breaking 10 professional rules of professional conduct, which only confirmed his ineffectiveness on this case, including purging himself in the courtroom, which he also did in this trial. I have and am writing an innocent project as much as possible, but they under-resourced and overworked with a whole lot of caseloads. I wrote judges, religious leaders, politicians, and anyone in a position of making a difference I possibly can, all to no avail so far. With this type of exposure, I'm hoping to get an ear, heart, mind, attention of the whole world if need be. I'd rather try to do something great to fail than try nothing great and succeed. I love and deeply appreciate someone like, I don't give it, Oprah Winfrey, President Obama, CNN, whoever is in a position of making a difference. If not personal, somehow, some way, will have somebody hook up to what I'm saying and make sure I'm not the little boy in here crying wolf and continue to ignore this injustice taking place. At the same time, it doesn't matter who you are. It's a true statement that there's always a minority to hold the key to progress. There's always those who are unafraid to be different that advance comes throughout society. There are several things I refuse to do. And one is, even though I'm afraid that my voice won't be heard or my words might be unheard and misunderstood, but I refuse not to take this opportunity to reach out to the realm of unlimited possibility. I refuse to become institutionalized. I refuse to become bitter about any of this. In fact, this whole ordeal was some kind of strange way, but it is positive and made me a whole lot better. I also refuse to give off the false persona that all is well when it's not. Great changes take time, and now time to change. Tomorrow is usually the most busiest day of the year. So today I'm hungry seeking to find some type of assistance. If you can find out more about myself online somewhere, right? My name is Jermaine Marshall. My ID number is 317791. I'm currently being housed at North Branch Correctional Institution, 14100 Big Mullet Highway, Cumberland, Maryland, 21502. And ASAP, I'll do my best to get right back to you. If you would not mind making a contribution or a donation, send it to my legal PayPal site at AndrewThurman152@yahoo.com. Here's my best. Now wait for God to handle the rest. Thank you for your time and your patience. Hopefully I'll hear from you sooner or later, no matter what. God bless you all.